Welcome to my dream van build. So this is a very exciting part of the video because this is one of the last stages that I will be doing myself. It's the removal of the bulkhead. I need to take this out because I've got a brand new bulkhead coming off a very special person. His name's Dickie. Thank you so much, Dickie. He saw that I was doing this van build and he had a spare bulkhead lying about. He runs a place called Anderson Body Care and they do all sorts of car repairs and stuff like that. I've never removed a bulkhead out of a van before. I've just YouTubed it. Just looks like some bolts that you take out, but oh, for God's sake. Forgot I went mountain biking. The whole reason I'm doing this van, let me show you now, is because of this. Leaving my mountain bike on its side, junk everywhere, helmet on the floor that rolls about. I cannot wait for this to be finished. And oh my goodness me, it's so hot in this van from all the insulation. That's crazy. I just quickly checked with Dickie that he had the bottom part of the bulkhead too, because I knew he had the top part but I wasn't sure before I take this bit out, because as you can see it's wrecked. It's got white paint on it somewhere over there, because this used to be an enterprise rental van before I had it, so it's taking a bit of a battering, as all vans do. But I'm going to whip this out now. I need to disconnect the battery down here. Well, look what I found down the back of here. Somebody's 13mm and a nice amount of broken glass. Oh, and a Titan wrapper. Nice. So I'm going to give this clean. I want to get this back to being as close to white as possible, and then chuck the new one in tomorrow. So I needed a van that did it all because I ride super bikes, I ride mountain bikes, and I've always had vans that were either leased or sponsored to me, and I never got the opportunity to make one my very own. So this van build was everything I've ever wanted in a van, and I feel very lucky to have finally come up with my dream van. So I use vans for lots of different things. I do track day instruction, I go mountain biking with two of my friends where we've got 3 mountain bikes in the van. I sometimes have to sleep in my van when I'm traveling around a lot, and because of that I needed it to do a lot of different things. So I couldn't really do a bespoke mountain bike van like some people do with a slide out tray and things like that. I didn't want it to just be a super bike van that's just got one big holder in the front for one super bike. I wanted it to do lots of different things that worked in every which way I use it. So I'll talk you through each individual section, as I'm hoping you'll think it's quite cool, all the little different areas that I've thought about in this van. The final hurdle with this van was the sleeping arrangements, and if you stay till the end, I'll show you my ingenious solution I've come up for sleeping in this van. So the first thing I did with this van was strip it back to the bare metal. It was an enterprise rental van, it had been hammered before me, it had been jet washed and there was a layer of water underneath the ply floor underneath. the bulkhead was destroyed, and it just needed a lot of TLC. So I took everything out of the van, I took the flooring out, I took the ply lining off the sides, and I also removed this bulkhead. Dickie from Anderson Body Care kindly provided me with a brand new bulkhead that he sprayed white for me, and I'm really glad I did that. It seems like a silly little thing changing the bulkhead, but it's made a big difference to the look on the inside of this van. Once I stripped the van back to the bare metal, I had to do all the wiring. So you saw that in a previous episode with Jeff. Jeff kindly helped me fit all the electrical items in this van. We've fitted an inverter. So if you come inside in this cupboard, I've got my inverter as well as the solar panel controls. There's a solar panel on the roof. It's a 1000 watt inverter that we fitted in here. In this section of the van, I've got my 2 batteries that are connected to the front of the van too. And that means that when the van's driving, I'm charging my leisure batteries, and also with the solar panel, I'm also charging the batteries. So we've constantly got power in this van. The next stage was a company called Dodo Mat kindly sponsored me with the insulating lining for this van. So I've insulated and sand deadened the floor and all the walls in this van. The roof's also been insulated, first with the sand deadening mat that they have, and then with the insulation on top. So I did that throughout the van. I then bought a new ply line kit from Coombe Valley Campers, and that fit really well. It was easy to fit. I used it on each panel, the back doors, and also the ceiling, and that made a huge difference because the lining in it was completely destroyed before. And the next stage after that was to carpet the van. This carpet was also from Coombe Valley Campers. It's really easy to fit, you just have to cut it out, stick it on, and there's not a lot to it. So that, I think, has made a big difference to the inside aesthetic of this van too. So the next stage after we had done all the wiring was to take this to Loaded Bikes, and Loaded Bikes have been an absolute dream on this project. I can't thank them enough. They've helped me throughout the build, from sourcing materials to the bike rack to all sorts of different things. So thank you to Loaded Bikes, because I couldn't have done this without them. Loaded Bikes recommended this flooring to me. I'll put the name of it in the description because I forgot, but this flooring they have in their van is really hard wearing. When it gets dirty and grubby, they just use shoe polish to shine it back up again, and after seeing their van, they use it at Fat Cats all the time at sandy motocross tracks, and it's still in pretty good condition. So I really like that flooring. That's why I've used this flooring. It was at that point I realised I was getting far too out of my depth with building in this van, and the reason for that is I've got this railing in the floor here, and this railing is really handy. I'm sure you've seen it before. It's got little attachments that you can put in so you can strap stuff to the floor, and they mentioned drilling through into the diesel tank and things like that, and at that point I got quite worried that that was going to happen to me. So I left that in the capable hands of Loaded Bikes, fitting this flooring and the railing in the floors as well as the walls. They do actually sell drill jig kits to stop you from making mistakes like that, but I just didn't trust myself, and I wasn't here, so I needed someone else to do it. So once we'd wired all the electrics in, and this had been taken to Loaded Bikes, who fitted this flooring for me, I fitted the USB chargers so I can charge things here. I've got a control switch for my LED lights in the roof. I've got a cigarette lighter in case I want to plug a mini fridge in. I've got 2 plug sockets here, and I've also got a compressor in here, which is one of the things I'm most excited about. It's always a pain when you're at track days or if you're out mountain biking and you forgot your pump, and that was something I wanted to include. I'll show you the attachment. So in here, this quickly connects onto that, and just like that I can switch it on here. I've got a compressor in my van. The other thing I mentioned before in this van was a jet wash, and when we're out mountain biking sometimes you don't have access to a jet wash or water, and it was a pain point for me because sometimes these vans get covered in mud, and I always wanted a way of cleaning my van, and I always wanted a way of cleaning my mountain bikes at the end of a ride. So I went to Twitter to ask people their recommendations, and everyone on Twitter was really helpful, and that was where I found this. And this is a battery powered jet wash from Ryobi. I'm not sponsored with this, by the way. This was just something I found on Screwfix, I think. That goes in like that. and I've now got a jet wash. This here connects to either a hose pipe, or you can connect that to a pipe and put it in a bucket of water, and you've got a jet wash to clean your mountain bikes. So I'm really chuffed with that. It means that I don't have to. So as well as all the electrical points here, I've got my jet wash. I also installed the LED halo roof system, which I've completely copied off other brands, but they charge about 300 or 400 quid to design something like that. A huge shout out to Jeff, another Jeff in this build, who is a friend of Loaded Bikes, and I'm lying when I said that I carpeted this and did any of this. Jeff did all of it for me. I wasn't here, I didn't have time to do it, and he's done an amazing job, amazing carpenter. He's done all this woodwork for me and all of the LED system as well. So thank you to Jeff for sorting all of that. So when we're doing track days and mountain bike days, often you need aerosols and brake cleaner and things like that, and it annoys me having them in the door pockets of the van or rolling about in the back of the van. So in this cupboard here, I've got all my aerosol sprays.
I can't make it good.
We've got Taz on the camera, so it's not easy.
Why wouldn't it? Can't see it.
Do you remember when I was telling YouTube I was just making higher quality videos now, and I forgot to order a cameraman? Anyway, that's aerosols done. And over on this side of the van, I have got another cupboard here. So the batteries are in the bottom of that, and then there's a shelf in here, and in the shelf we've got all tubeless rim tape and spare tubes and stuff like that. So we're never going to get stuck. We've got all the mountain bike lubes on this side of the van. In here as well is also the fuse box that I didn't point out earlier. This, I'm not sure what Loaded Bikes have named this, but this bike rack from Loaded Bikes is really easy to fit. It bolts to the bulkhead just in 2 points, so anyone can fit this, and it's really clever. So you can put any kind of bike in this: a super bike, super moto bike, motocross bike, enduro, mountain bike, anything you want fits in these rails. And down here there's mounting points, so you just use your normal bike straps or ratchet straps onto these mounting points. And it means for me, I can put 3 mountain bikes in here when I've got 2 mates in the van. I can put 2 super bikes in here, and they very kindly mapped all this out on a CAD drawing for me to show me exactly how this was going to fit, and it works really good. So it means on track days now I can take 2 bikes if me and Dad are going, or me and Taz, and on mountain bike days I'm also covered. Anyone that's done track days or any kind of riding knows that it's very annoying when you've got a leather suit and you've got nowhere to hang it. Our kit bags are full, we have helmets, back protectors, everything else, and boots, so sometimes my leathers are sat out and I don't like having them on the floor of the van. So I wanted to come up with a solution for this, and at the very last second I realised that there was actually holes in the top of the van here if I could just cut a hole in the ply line of the van. Nice camera work, Taz. So in this hole here, very handily, I can hook that in there, and then this is actually a suit dryer. So my suit dryer now can run the cable down there to that plug socket, and I can dry my suit when I'm on the track day. I've also got helmet dryer, which is here. Can also plug into this here, so I can dry my helmet and dry my suit when I'm at the track. This was given to me by Loaded Bikes as well, and it's very handy. Something I hadn't actually thought about. When you're motocrossing and you sat here with your motocross boots, you've got metal buckles on the back of your boots, they realise that you often scratch the back of your van. So this is here to stop that. You can put your bike ramp on it as well to stop the back of the van getting scratched, and it's a very handy little thing to have. So you can see these on their website too. So the final thing was the sleeping arrangements, and it was a bit of a tricky situation. I didn't want to put a bed in the back because I didn't really have room for it with everything else. I use it that much that I didn't want to block any part of the van off, and the amount of days I'm actually going to sleep in this is very few, but sometimes I will sleep in it, so I wanted to have some way of spending the night in the back of the van, especially now it's insulated. So for transits, very handily have storage under the seats here, and in this storage I've got an airbed and a sleeping bag. So with my compressor in the back, I can pump the airbed up, use a sleeping bag, and as if by magic, I can now live in my van. I love this camera work from Taz. That's my dream van build finished. I'm very proud of what I managed to achieve, and a huge thank you to everyone that helped. I'll put links in the description to everyone that did help me, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Get in the van, get in the van. In the van.